Hi everybody, it's Patricia Warby, Alchemy Therapies here and my emotional audit and another in my weekly updates. And today I wanted to talk about inflammation. And you may be thinking inflammation is that thing that happens when the body has an infection or you cut yourself and inflammation results in the healing process. But that's not the kind of inflammation I want to talk about. I actually want to talk about inflammation in public discourse, okay? Because it's come to my attention recently that putting myself out here and making these videos means I am in the public domain, and therefore what I say gets scrutinized and sometimes attacked. A few weeks ago, I recorded something on Sinead O'Connor, who sadly died in tragic circumstances. And I wanted to record something that witnessed her passing. And I made a statement that we presumed she died of suicide, and I didn't know. And I was very clear in the description. We didn't know how she died, and it could have been any number of things. But there was speculation in the press, of course, given her mental health troubles. And I didn't think anything of that statement, but some of the comments that I got from people were really attacking of me. How dare I say that when there was no proof, and that her family must have been devastated, of course. But by my comments that I was directly attacking somehow her memory. I also got accused of trying to get, more people to click on my channel just by talking about her. None of those things are actually true. I talk about people in the public eye a lot. She was just one example, but I take examples from the public eye because that's what people notice. And so it helps to illustrate the points I'm making. If I just talk about Joe or Joan blogs no one's heard of, there isn't so much interest in the concepts that I'm promoting here. And yes, I maybe shouldn't have made that statement. I recorded it off the cuff, as I do with the ideas that I have. I try and make these videos. They are to some extent planned, but they're also free flowing. I don't script them as such. So I was quite surprised at how attacked I was and how I felt reading those comments and trying to explain. I hadn't intended any harm to her memory or her family. But it occurred to me then that people are very angry. And if you put your head above the parapet here in this social media world, you will get attacked because they're angry about other things. And you are a symbol of what they're angry about. They're angry that people don't respect them. They're angry that maybe their past histories haven't been heard or witnessed. Maybe they've had losses recently, which one of the commenters had a loss and was obviously very triggered by what I'd said. And I wanted to answer that really. And it suddenly occurred to me this kind of inflammatory response was very similar to what you see in the body when you have some kind of insult to the body. And then I watched a fabulous talk with Zach Bush, who happened to mention we need to move beyond the polarization and the inflammation in public discourse. And I was like, that's it. That's what I'm really strongly believing in, is we have to get out of this need to be right, the need to be right all the time, and to push that agenda rather than being loving and compassionate towards each other. And yes, I'm as guilty of that as anyone. When somebody attacks me, I want to say, well, no, that's not right. I didn't say it like that. But then you have to sort of pull back and find a way to respond that's loving and kind. But that kind of generosity isn't shown to me because for some reason, when you record videos, people think you deserve to be attacked. And it's very interesting that nobody responded to defend that. They just left it. And so I have responded, I hope, in a kind way and just said, thank you for that comment, but let's move beyond that, because these were just examples of how we feel free to attack each other in public because we don't have accountability. You could have a false name, you could have a false picture. This could be multiple accounts, and maybe you get your kicks from attacking people. I don't think that's the case in this example, but I've had experiences of that in the past where people just attack you because you're not going with the current narrative. You're not talking in the language that people understand. And so this polarization, me right, you wrong, is what's driving this, and the lack of authentic expression, because you're anonymous online. You can say whatever you like, whether you believe it or not. It could be just something you want to promote to bring people to your channel or whatever. It's shaming. It's absolutely awful. And to be a highly sensitive person receiving that is very, very difficult. And it made me want to stop producing the videos, actually, and think very carefully about what I'm saying here. So, but I do think I have a duty. I have a duty to speak out. I've been following The Gene Keys recently, which is a very interesting book. I don't think it'll show properly. I guess it will. The Gene Keys by Richard Rudd. And it seems that your DNA is coded from the time you were born. I actually think it's from conception, but they calculate it from your birth time and work 9 months back from there. And mine is to speak up. It's to be the voice for the unconventional and perhaps the non-conventional narrative, because we are in a time of democratic attack, actually, on our institutions and free speech. As we know, there was a bill passed recently in the UK that allows the government to intervene and force media companies to only present a common narrative, trusted information partners, I think it's called. And so I think trusted information partners are considered things like CNN, the BBC, rather than many of the online platforms. So they're trying to shut down non-conventional narrative. And I think that's the basis of free speech. And whether I agree with some of the non-conventional narratives or not, I would defend to the end their right to express their viewpoint. And if I am part of that, then maybe I am, because I'm here and I'm speaking out and I'm recording these videos and some people are watching them. Thank you very much for watching them. So let's get out of inflammation and let's get into compassion and understand that our anger, whilst it may be justified, it isn't okay to just spread that around to people who are non-intentionally triggering you. And if we can come into a feeling that being right isn't the most important thing, but actually owning our own feelings and being able to soothe ourselves and connect with others at the point of commonality. You know, there will always be a common point at which you can connect with people, even if you disagree fundamentally about some of the detail. You know, we're all human beings. We all deserve love and understanding. And I think that's where I begin and where I end today. So thank you for listening. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.